Hey, 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 everybody. Welcome back. That's right. It's episode number 41 of the Real Deal Pod with Allister and Geoff. Oh my goodness, it is a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. We are so happy to have everybody back with us. Geoff, my man, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I've converted to city life for the last week here, just kind of hanging out in the greater Vancouver area. And yeah, I'm turning into a city pumpkin versus the country bumpkin. But
Oh, that's
yeah,
crazy, man. How you liking it?
you know what? I like the city. I do like the country a little bit better. It's just not as busy, not as crazy, and I went to go get gas this morning, and I had to, kind of get myself there, and then there was no easy way to get out, so I had to travel about a half a kilometer, turn around. So it's just different. Like anything is that you're used to. It's always a little bit different when you do something different. But again, I love the city. I love being in that close proximity to everything. But I won't lie, I like the mountains and lakes.
I hear you, man. I love Vancouver City, truly do. But I am a suburb kid, right? Grew up in the prairies. I am a prairies kid. My father-in-law, he's got a place in False Creek that we stay at, right? And so when we go stay down there, and I have to work, so I have to go out and do showings and stuff like that. Just the traveling back and forth, getting everywhere. I'm like, oh man, I couldn't live down here. My mind wouldn't make it. I'm a suburb kid. I like the quietness, and like you said, I like the mountains. I like the lakes. I like to just. It's nice. It's easy, right? Easy like Sunday morning, Geoff. Easy like Sunday morning.
It's nice though that you can have the option of either or though, right? So
That is true. Like that's first world problems, though, right? That's first world problems. It is nice. It is nice to have the benefit of both. I'm not gonna lie, right?
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, Geoff, let's kick it off, buddy, because I think I'm going on a rant today. I think I'm going to go on a rant, Geoff. So we're kicking off, did you hear, Geoff? With the BC government has just launched the short-term rental registry with annual fees to rein in speculators. So let me get started. The government's decision to introduce the short-term rental registry requiring all Airbnb and VRBO operators to register and pay annual fees is being touted as a solution to the housing crisis.
Hmm.
That comment truly, truly bugged me, Geoff.
Yeah.
That statement truly, truly bothered me. While we did need to get a handle on the Airbnbs and the illegal ones that were running, that were going on, and all that sort of stuff, yes, we do need oversight just to make sure that the people that are going to these places are going into regulated and safe environments. So yes, it is a great, great thing that we are going to have this registry. It is wonderful. However, it completely misses the mark addressing a system, as I always say, rather than the root cause of the province's housing challenges. And that is what drives me nuts. Our beautiful, beautiful housing minister, Ravi Kahlon, claims that this measure will rein in the speculators and prioritize homes for people. Again, that statement drives me bananas. It is so abhorrently ignorant of a comment to say to the public. You are legitimately treating the public as though they're stupid, lovely housing minister Ravi Kahlon. Because the reality, Geoff, as we know, is far more complex. And it falls woefully short of addressing any type of meaningful change. His statement, homes are for people and not for speculation, wonderful. Absolutely great. Sounds great in the papers. You, Mr. Ravi Kalan, you got your headlines with that one. Beautiful. Your name is in the paper. No one disputes that housing should serve as residents first and not for profiteers. However, framing short-term rentals as a primary culprit completely oversimplifies the issue. So let me once again state what is the direct driver of BC's housing crisis. Number one, lack of new supply. We are simply not building enough homes to meet demand. We have had decades and decades of underinvestment in housing development that has left BC lagging far behind. Period.
And I will add, due to immigration.
That's going to get onto it. Okay. Zoning restrictions is number two. Outdated zoning laws have prevented higher density developments in areas where they are most needed. That has perpetuated the scarcity of unavailable housing, or pardon me, of available housing. Number three have been escalating construction costs because labor shortages, material costs, and regulatory red tape, Mr. Ravi Kalan, has driven up the price of building, leaving developers unable to deliver affordable solutions. And number four, foreign investment and speculation. So yes, Mr. Kalan, while you are addressing this to some extent, these other three parts that I have named have been the bigger three issues. Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Ravi Kalan, for doing number four and touting that as the biggest significant thing that is going to change this whole deal that we're in. But the three that I said first are the ones that need to actually be addressed. So stop it with this freaking nonsense in the media. I am so sick and tired of it, Geoff. I've had it. I can't handle it. Stop me on my rant, Geoff. You can get in. You can jump in. What are your thoughts, Geoff? Am I off base?
No, I don't think you're off base at all. I think it's important to understand what this new Airbnb regulation is, because a lot of people don't, number one, right? Sure. And so let's talk a little bit about what this new Airbnb and VRBO and short-term rentals are all about. So it's one of the things that our government is doing to handle our housing crisis, right? To your point, I don't think it's a very smart way of going about it, because there are bigger things regarding our housing crisis than short-term rentals. In fact, if you take a look at what that guideline says, so let's just kind of rewind and see what that guideline says, and paraphrasing. Short-term rentals such as VRBOs and Airbnbs are going to be restricted to any communities that have a population of over 10,000 and or are not considered resort zoning, right?
Right.
Now, do keep in mind with short-term rentals that municipalities that aren't zoned as resort living or have a population of over 10,000, they can actually come in and apply for an exemption of this Airbnb or this short-term rental law. I believe it's after 2 years, providing that the rental, what's the word I'm looking for?
Rental rate. The rental rate.
The rental rate is lower than a certain percentage.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, what this fails to do and what it has done, and I'm going to throw myself into this bucket as well, because I've had multiple Airbnbs. What it has done, it has basically eliminated for some an income revenue source as far as outside of your employment income, right? So again, it's handcuffing people that have the ability of having Airbnb from creating some passive income outside of their primary residence, right? So do keep in mind, you still are allowed to have Airbnbs in your primary residence or on your primary residence, but it has handcuffed I'm going to call them the entrepreneurs of owning real estate, creating a short-term rental, and as a result, creating a passive income source. And
And
further,
just to tag on to that, Geoff, sorry, just to tag on to that though, there are many short-term rentals that they're not suitable for a long-term rental. So
yeah,
now you're changing the dynamic for an investor, like you just said, that has purchased, let's say, something that's suitable for a short-term rental, and you force their now in their investment into something that it's not suitable for. So sorry, I just wanted to tag in. I just wanted to tag on to that.
well, and to add on to it, when you have a short-term rental, do you think that you take care of that property because it's a short-term rental much better than if it's a long-term rental? Right? So when you have these short-term rentals, you're cleaning them, every other
Always.
week. You
Yep.
are being regulated by platforms such as Airbnb and VRBO. You
Yep.
are getting screened and rated on your short-term rental, and as a result, you're taking care of that property much more than if it's a long-term rental. Now, don't get me wrong. When I was growing up, uh, we were renting, we never owned growing up,
Yeah.
and my mother took care of the places that we rented as if she owned it. But the reality of it is, if you don't own it, the majority of us, I'm sorry, are not going to take care of it
Take
as if
care
we
of it.
did own it. So what
Exactly.
happens as well is that it also um, can really destroy not necessarily the appreciation of that property, but the quality of that property, right?
Yeah.
And furthermore, let's take a look at the Okanagan. What has this restriction with short-term rentals have done to tourism, right?
That's the other point. Yeah.
So it is actually has really handcuffed some communities as far as tourism, and furthermore, and this is the point, hasn't really affected the housing crisis. In fact, it has limited tourism. It has limited the ability for people to take care of their property with the white gloves, and it hasn't dealt with the housing crisis. So to your point, this is not the primary way to get housing back to where it needs to be. There's
No,
other things that we need to focus on, that the government needs to focus on. And again, I don't think this is one of them.
no, I don't think it is. Like the other thing too is my belief with anything, overly rigid regulation is just going to drive more operators underground. So I don't believe that we're really even gonna solve the problem by doing it. It's this, the problem's not even gonna really get solved. In fact, it's just gonna make it worse
Yeah.
because you're gonna cause more people to try to skirt the rules and get around paying all these things and all that sort of stuff. So you're just gonna exacerbate the issue again, as opposed to dealing with the real issues that BC is facing, a severe housing shortage, right? Which is what's build more homes, right? Streamline zoning laws to allow for more mixed use developments and higher density housing in urban areas. Encourage faster approvals for developments, particularly those that include affordable housing units, right? Prioritize rental housing, right?
Yeah, I agree. Like our government is handling this the way that a lot of governments handle anything, which is lipstick on a problem.
Right.
And it's even about the BC home flipping tax that's rolling out January 1st. Again, this is another tax that's being rolled out to avoid people coming in flipping properties. Again, trying to address the housing crisis, but again, it's not really dealing with the problem, right? This
No.
capital gains tax adjustment, again, handcuffing people about or taxing people on the capital gains. Now that obviously has been on hold since our government is on hold, but
Yep.
that still CRA is going to be rolling out as if it is legislation. But it's these things that again, to me, is just lipstick on a problem. It's not really getting into, you've noted, to say, hey, if you really want to deal with housing crisis, what do we need to do? Is
Right.
it to restrict short-term rentals? Is it to introduce a BC home flipping tax? What is it? Like, to me, that's not the solution to the problem.
No. Here's another one I can give them. is tackle your regulatory hurdles, right? So one of the things that BC faces consistently, and so many of the developers that I speak with, is that it has become unnecessarily complicated and expensive due to the red tape, right? So streamline the permitting process and reduce costs for the developers, and that would allow the projects to move forward more quickly and more affordable, right?
Yeah.
Again, that's addressing a root cause, not a surface issue. It drives me bananas. It drives me bananas. So to your point, I was going to say, like, this is the, if our beautiful housing minister, saying that with with the most respect in the world I can, if Mr. Ravi Callan, my man, if you are listening, in anything that you do going forward, I want you to do it asking yourself these three questions. Number one, why aren't we building enough homes? Number two, what barriers are stopping developers from creating more affordable housing? And number three, how can we ensure that BC residents, not investors, benefit most from our housing market? Do it those three ways. Ask yourself when you are making your decisions to the root problem, ask it those three ways. Make it fit those three buckets. And I promise you, we will start fixing things. We will start addressing the root as opposed to the surface.
Yeah. Well said.
Crazy, man. Crazy. That's my rant, Geoff. I'm sorry. I should have called grind my gears today, right? But I'm sorry, man. That whenever I hear of these surface things, and then when they just go out there and they talk like they're such heroes, and they speak to us as the public like we're just unintelligent minions that will just say, okay, well, good, thank you, maybe in 40 years it'll get better. Like, my God, drives me bananas. Sorry, Geoff. So yeah, sorry, I took, like, I don't know, is that our whole pod? I don't know. What do you got for us today?
I know. Yeah, I think that's a great, again, I think that's a great, did you know? Because there's a lot, I think we're going to have a lot of good conversations on did you knows. And, a little bit of a story of actually policy that's rolling out for 2025, got introduced in 2024, in addition to these short-term rentals. And that's a policy for non-first-time home buyers purchasing new builds that are their primary residences. So again, and again, Allister, I want to share this because this is how confusing some of these rules are. And this is one of them. So again, I wanted to remind people as of December 15th of 2024, and this is going to become a lot more kind of rolling coming into 2025 with a lot of people that are not first-time homebuyers buying new properties, new builds, and making their primary residences. You can now do that with less than 20% down, so you don't need 20% down, and use a 30-year amortization. So remember, in the past, prior to December 15th of 2024, if you used a 30-year amortization, you needed to have a minimum of 20% down. So again, for non-first-time home buyers, you don't need 20% down to use a 30-year amortization, providing that you're buying a brand new build. Now, here is the kicker. Working on a file, we bring this file to the lender. Do you think the lender knows this policy?
I'm going to guess no.
No, they come back and they say, actually, one of the applicants on the title or on the application has to be a first-time home buyer in order to get the 30-year amortization. I go back and say, no, as of December 15th of 2014, non-first-time home buyers, providing that it's a new build and they're living in it, can use a 30-year amortization with less than 20% down. Guess what that lender says? No.
I believe you're wrong.
I believe you're wrong. No. So here's even the kicker. Then I go, and now I'm starting to second guess myself.
Of course
so
you are.
I went and phoned CMHC, which is Canadian Mortgage Housing Corporation. This is for, for people who know there's three insurers here in Canada. When you're putting down less than 20%, there's CMHC, Sagan, and Canada
And kind
Guarantee.
of guarantee.
So I reach out to CMHC and I
And
ask them.
CMHC, Geoff, just so everybody knows, is basically the big one. Like they're the big daddy of everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I go to them and I ask them that same question. Hey, I'm working on a file. These are non-first time home buyers. It's a brand new build, putting down less than 20%. Can we use a 30-year amortization? Guess what CMHC tells me? Or I'm not going to say CMHC, but guess what the representative
The person,
picked up the phone that.
Please don't tell me they told you no.
They told me no. They said you have to be a first-time home buyer. So
First-time
now
home buyer.
I'm really confused. And then I reach out to one of our BDMs. And again, BDMs are business development managers that we work with lenders. And I reach out to her and I say, hey, this is my understanding as far as what when you're a non-first time home buyer, buying a new build, less than 20% down, can we use a 30-year amortization? Because I'm really confused. CMHC is telling me no. And then they're saying, well, maybe, and then they're saying, well, let me get back to you. The lender that we're trying to do this with is telling me no, telling me that one of the applicants has to be a first-time home buyer. I'm like, Donna, can you put some light on this? I know you've been doing this and listening to everything that's out there. And it's like, Geoff, no. The answer to this is, as a non-first time home buyer buying a new build with less than 20% down, you can use a 30-year amortization without a doubt. And here's the other thing, folks, that I also didn't know is that you can actually apply for a rebate on that insurance premium and get up to 25% back. That you need to do as the borrower through either one of the three insurers, wherever that mortgage is being insured, be it Sagan, be it Canada Guarantee, or be it CMHC. You can also apply to get 25% of that premium back. Again, only if you are purchasing a new build using a 30-year amortization with less than 20% down. So that's actually something that came new to me. So that's very that anybody that's out there that is buying a new build, be it a first-time home buyer or a non-first-time home buyer, using a 30-year amortization with less than 20% down, you can apply to get 25% of that insurance premium back. How many people do you think know that?
I'm going to say very few. I had no idea. Like I knew about the first part. I didn't know about what you just told me. Like that's
now understand on that side of applying for that insurance premium back, your lender is not going to do it. Your broker is not going to do it. Your bank is not going to do it. You have to do that on your own.
On your own, right? So it's kind of like when you go to Best Buy and you're buying a printer and they say you get like a rebate, a $50 rebate if you send the thing back to HP and they'll send you a check back or they'll send you the money back type of deal. Yeah. But that's amazing though. But that's an amazing thing again that people don't know about, and the fact that you went to 3 different places and got the wrong information, which troubles me even more. Like that's probably the part of this story that troubles me the most. Continue.
Well, and I just want to circle back to the insurance premium, and I'll use if you have to pay $20,000 insurance premium. Again, because there is a bump when you're using that 30-year amortization on the premium that you're paying. If you're paying $20,000 for your insurance premium, which is always rolled into the mortgage, you guys want to keep that in mind. It's not coming out of your pocket. But if you apply for that rebate, that's $5,000 coming to you back on a $20,000 insurance premium. And again, so there's 2 things that I want to go here. How many people know that? I'm going to say 1 out of 10. I'm going to say less than 1, less than 5%.
0.5%. I'm going to say 0.5%. Yeah.
And also, again, folks, is that even your working professionals, and I can go on actually with a lot of different examples, but let's just use this one. Is that, again, I've always said there's lots of people that you can work with. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. So just imagine if you're working with the bad and ugly on this. Number one, all of a sudden you're doing a 25-year amortization outside of a 30-year amortization. What does that do for you as a borrower? It actually decreases that monthly payment because, again, using a 25-year amortization on this particular file, that's a $3,100 payment versus a $2,800 payment using a 30-year amortization.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Number two is that, with this rebate, and understand that you can get rebated on the insurance premium of up to 25%. Again, that's $5,000 in this particular files back into this client's pocket, right? Yeah. And then the third thing was the property transfer tax on new builds. If you're living in it, you're exempt from that. I believe it's from $1.1 million, right? So again, folks, where we're going with this, you do have a choice to work with the good, the bad, and the ugly. But if you are going to be working with the bad and the ugly, number one, you're not going to be heading down the right road. Number two, you are going to be misinformed. And number three, you're spending a lot of extra money each and every month that you could be putting back into your pocket. And also understanding that with some things, there are these rebates that you can apply for to get it back. Remember, we talked about rebates even when you're trying to make your house a green home and all the rebates that are.
Exactly. Yeah.
So again, folks, so much information out there. The Airbnb short-term rentals, not to digress away from that.
No.
But even I just wanted to share, hey, I own Did You Know?
Yeah.
And again, it was just so close to home. It was just like, okay, people need to understand that there's so much information about 30-year amortizations as a non-first-time home buyer using less than 20% down. And so much information if you are a first-time home buyer purchasing anything with less than 20% down, you're also allowed a 30-year amortization. So again, questions, comments, concerns, always go to the good. Don't go to the bad.
And don't trust the bad and the ugly. Yeah,
because,
don't trust the bad and the ugly.
At the end of the day, it's just going to be you, the client, that's going to suffer and be damaged in that if you're not guided down the right direction.
Amen, my man. Amen. And like I said, that's why, again, we are doubling down in 2025 to make sure we deliver you as much valuable content as we possibly can, because we know just how much of the bad and the ugly is out there. So even if you are not using us, and we always, no joke, Geoff and I do this to help you guys, but yes, we would love for you guys to become part of our family, for you to become part of the GLM family, for you to become part of the Acre family, and for us to be able to guide and help you and achieve your journey and achieve your dreams. We really do selfishly want to be the ones to help you do that. But if we're not, right, if for some reason we're not, we want to make sure that if you are working with the bad and you are working with the ugly, when the bad and the ugly tell you the wrong things, then at least we gave you the right stuff and you're not going to get hurt. Because that really is the danger, guys, is there's so much of the bad and the ugly out there. And unfortunately, because we do have to wrap it up right away, I was going to ask Geoff if he thought that one of the reasons there's so much miscommunication in terms of how with new regulations and stuff like that, is it because it's not being distributed properly by the people that are creating these regulations? I believe that is actually the issue. I also believe that whether it be in the mortgage industry, whether it be in the real estate industry, I believe that there's also a breakdown in these industries and how we deliver the information to ourselves. I don't believe you should be entrusting agents or mortgage advisors, mobile specialists, whatever your title may be. It's really tough to say, you guys should learn this on your own, because again, like Geoff and I just said, there's so much bad and ugly out there. They're not going to learn it on their own. And there's going to be consistent bad advice out there and consistent misadvice out there. So, like I said, please continue to listen. Please continue to share. Please continue to love us, like us, and be with us. Give us your comments. That is it for us today, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back here again next Wednesday with another episode of The Real Deal Pod with Allister and Geoff, episode number 42. We look forward to having you guys back here with us. You guys have an amazing rest of the week, and we'll talk later. Bye now. Oh, hold on. I didn't end it properly, Geoff. I gotta do it right. Stay empowered, stay informed, and most importantly, Geoff,
stay in tune.
Stay tuned. That's right, people. Now I can end it. Peace out, guys. Talk later.
See you later.
Bye now.